Just when Colorado fans thought they were in the clear of losing any star players, Jordan Seaton to the portal. This is a disaster. Let's talk about it.
You are Locked On Buffs, your daily podcast on the Colorado Buffaloes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Buffs. This is an emergency podcast episode edition of the show. I'm your host, Kevin Borba. We are brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcasting network in the business. We're going to be talking about the biggest thing that just happened, probably in college football. Jordan Seaton to the portal. We're going to talk about what this means for Colorado, and then I'm going to talk about some other transfer portal updates because they are going to be happening into the night. And so it's one of those things where you don't expect Jordan Seaton to leave based on what the latest sort of conversations were, right? He himself had said countless times, I'm a Buff, true and true. I'm never leaving. And I think Jordan Seaton leaving is a prime example, no pun intended, of where college football is, right? I promise you right now, Jordan Seaton probably wanted to, at least in his heart of hearts, stay at Colorado. But you have to understand other programs are going to come offering money. And this is what he had to say. As I reflect on my time at Colorado, it's hard to put into words what this chapter has truly meant to me. I never imagined this journey would come to a close in this way, but I'm deeply grateful for every moment that led me here. I also reflect on Justice Elliott, who's no longer with me, but his belief continues to guide and motivate me. From day one, my experience was filled with gratitude, love, and unwavering positivity. Colorado became more than just a program. I was proud and honored to represent. It became a place where I always consider home. I want to sincerely thank Rick George, Coach Prime, Coach Ray, Coach Gunner, Coach G, Coach Dre, Coach Swayze, Coach J. Phil, Chef Solomon, Brady, AP, Luke, and Smitty, Miss LT, and the entire staff. The relationships built and the memories created during my time here will stay with me forever. To my brothers who will be on that field next season, keep grinding, believing, and keep rolling. And to the fans of Colorado, thank you for welcoming me with open arms and supporting me every step of the way. This chapter may be closing, but the impact of this experience, the people who helped shape it, will stay with me for life. And honestly, I think that's a nice sentiment from the young man. I would hate to see the statement run through ChatGPT, but you have to understand someone's going to come offering big, right? If you ask me right now, who's going after Jordan Seaton? Why does Jordan Seaton randomly leave? Right? There was noise, and I'm going to give credit to T-Cal. He said this, I didn't even remember when it was, but he said DJ McKinney and Jordan Seaton will never play for Colorado again. And they missed the last couple of games, and it was like, okay, I at least knew that one of them was sitting out because he was done with the team. I thought the other one was sitting out due to injury, but here we are. I think this sort of answers the questions that maybe that wasn't the case. And so I'm looking at programs like Texas, Texas Tech, Indiana, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Miami, right? Those are the big programs that are throwing money everywhere. Look at LSU as well, because Lane Kiffin has no problem contacting people before they are in the portal, right? So those are the schools I'd look out for if I were you. If you're a Colorado fan, losing Jordan Seaton sucks, right? It does, because he was what many of us thought a true representation of what it meant to be a Colorado Buffalo, right? He chose to come here. He wasn't just a transfer. He was a 5-star recruit that announced that he was going to Colorado on national television. He picked Colorado over Ohio State, over Maryland, which is his hometown program. And it was like, okay, this guy is committed to playing for Deion Sanders. There was countless times where he was on Instagram Live where people would be like, come to Miami or come to Texas or whatever. And he's like, no, I'm a Buff, right? He won the Buff Award. And he was winning all these awards, and he was recruiting his cousin to Colorado, of all things. And now he's gone. And so that part sucks, because it's just sort of where college football is. And we're going to find out. He got an offer for, I imagine the number will be in the 2 to 3 million range, wherever he ends up. And if it's in Lubbock, it'll probably be in the 3 to 4 range, because they have to pay the Lubbock tax. And if it's Miami, I'm sure it'll be just as high as well, because a lot of these programs, Oregon as well, are willing to spend money. And so we're going to find out that Jordan Seaton got millions of dollars to go somewhere else. And it's like, okay, can't fault the kid. It's life-changing money, but it sucks, right? This is where college football is at. It's like, okay, we have to support these guys making money, but we also can't be disappointed when they leave our favorite programs because we're haters, right? That's basically the ultimatum we're given. And I think this is a testament to where or what's wrong with college football. I think that these players need to be under some sort of contract. I obviously am unaware if Colorado was able to re-up him this offseason. Are they able to say, Like, are they able to pull a Washington and be like, you know what? We signed you to a $3 million deal, like they did with Damon Williams, and we signed you to a $3 million deal. You're not going anywhere. Otherwise, you owe us this amount of money. And I doubt Colorado would do that because they're not going to hold someone hostage, right? You never want to be with someone who doesn't want to be with you. But if you're a Colorado fan, this is brutal, right? I think him leaving towards the end of the portal hurts even more because it's like, okay, there was rumors and murmurs that he was leaving like at the end of the season, but it was like those quieted down. And then he was recruiting other people, right? He was recruiting people to Colorado. He was being an advocate. And then now with the transfer portal closing, I think on, was it 3 days or whatever it is, right? I think it's the 16th. The portal closes in 3 or 4 days. And all of a sudden he's like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm out. Like, that stings. And if you're a Colorado fan, I think it's hard to swallow this pill because he just seemed like he was dedicated to the mission, and it seemed like he was dedicated. Clearly now we know he was dedicated to the mission if the price was right. So that's where college football is at these days. I'm not going to tell you that I knew this was coming by any means. Like, I thought these days were behind us. But I will say that there was some interesting moves made by the Buffs in past days in the portal that really, in hindsight's 2020, it's like, obviously he was leaving, right? Like I'm going to take a quick 3-second break and we'll talk about that, why it was sort of obvious after the fact that he was leaving. This episode of Locked on Buffs is brought to you by our sponsors over at FanDuel. The wild card round is here, and the FanDuel is officially in playoff mode every game day during the NFL playoffs. FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action because right now, every NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. Each game day, you'll see a loaded pack with multiple profit boosts you can apply to the bets you like the most. So every play feels bigger, and the boost makes you feel like your bets that way too. You make your picks. Then you apply for a profit boost to go after even bigger payouts while the playoffs get rolling. So visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. And we're back. Okay, let's talk what this means, right? I thought it was interesting to see Colorado in the portal the other days, and like I was just like, you know what? The depth is coming. That's what I was viewing it as. But Colorado added 3 offensive linemen in the past few days, right? They added, most recently, they went out and added Bo Hewley from Georgia, 6'7", 300-pound right tackle who started multiple games for the Dogs this year. Didn't give up a single sack, and I think it was like close to 300 snaps. So he's monster of a human. Played football with Julian Lewis, and I think Juju said it. I'm guessing the Atlanta Ducks, or it was the Georgia Ducks or something. So I'm guessing it was like a Pop Warner thing. So Pop Warner teammates with Juju Lewis. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Like a depth piece. Nice. And then before that, it was Javen Richardson from Missouri, 6'6", 313. Excuse me. Another offensive tackle. He didn't have a ton of experience. He wasn't like a certified starter. Excuse me. But he was a guy who had experience. And I was like, okay, clearly they weren't. I thought this was more of an indictment on Larry Johnson, honestly, at right tackle than Jordan Seaton leaving. That's what I was telling myself. And so I was just like, it's probably not a thing. And then before all this, they brought in Taj White, who was a starter at Rutgers, Big Ten experience. And it was like, okay, this guy is coming to take someone's job. And quite frankly, I was like, it's Larry Johnson. I just thought Larry Johnson was the odd man out. And in reality, I think Colorado knew this move was coming. Obviously, they have to file and it's a whole thing. So they just don't go, oh, wow, he's in the portal. Like the players file this unless he pulled a fast one on Colorado. And so Colorado was clearly planning to replace Jordan Seaton before we even realized it. I think it was disguised as depth. Again, it's disappointing to see him go. And it puts a big question mark over the offensive line because I kept telling you guys, I was like, you're returning Jordan Seaton at left tackle. You're getting Yaya at left guard or right guard. Doesn't matter. Zarian McGill is probably maybe going to be the center again. He's trying to get the extra year of eligibility. Granted, they went out and got a center, or they're pursuing centers and interior offensive linemen anyway. And then right tackle was Larry Johnson, right? So I was like, in reality, you're losing Xavier Hill and you're returning at least 4 guys who have started games. That's great. Now I'm looking at this offensive line, and I think there's a lot of potential with the guys they brought in. I'm not saying that they're better than Jordan Seaton. Like Jordan Seaton, and I've said this countless times, and I said this when I talked about people they couldn't afford to lose. Jordan Seaton, the only reason he was ever going to leave Colorado was money. It is what it is, right? If people want to pretend like, oh, you can't be a first round pick at Colorado, that's BS. We all know it's true. Travis Hunter was a first round pick, right? We've seen guys come from programs where it's like, oh, really? Like that guy was a first round pick and he came out of this school. Like Jordan Seaton was a first round pick, guaranteed. I think playing in the go-go offense probably would have only helped him in his versatility. His run blocking was a little bit on the weaker side. So I would say that was the one thing I was hoping to see him improve on. But it's just one of those things where it's like, I thought Colorado was going to return 4 linemen next year. I thought they were going to be firing on all cylinders. And Jordan Seaton pulls a fast one on the program, or at least on the fans, and it sucks. Like it does. But Colorado was clearly prepared for this. And I think if you're Deion Sanders, you go into the portal and you go, you know what? We needed more guys anyway, right? This maybe, if you want to go glass half empty or glass half full, maybe he's, I don't know, maybe it's like, okay, well, we were spending X amount of $1 million on him. Now we could go buy or go get 2 more players at offensive tackle, and we could get an interior defense lineman, or we could pay another running back or whatever, right? So it's tough. It's tough to lose him. I'm not going to pretend losing Jordan Seaton is like a good thing by any means, but it's one of those things where this is where college football is at these days. Colorado was planning for, I think, this to happen, right? You don't bring in 3 offensive tackles who are multiple guys with multiple years of eligibility, multiple guys that have 1 year of eligibility, and just expect them to come sit on the bench, right? So tough loss. If you're Colorado, you kind of have to just take this one on the chin, and hopefully you don't see him, I guess, in Big 12 play, right? I would say look out for the schools that I mentioned earlier. I think it'll be Texas Tech, Miami, Ohio State, Texas. I think those are the 4 schools I would look out for. Maybe Notre Dame, they've been throwing some money around as well. But Oregon is another school I would think that would probably try to do this to Colorado. Like, I think the Sharks have been circling for a long time, and we'll just have to wait and see which Shark ends up with the money to offer him. But it's just one of those things where it's like, hey, you lost him. But if you're a Colorado fan, let's be positive, because you did get a huge transfer portal update as well on the offensive side of the ball. I don't know if it's going to soften the blow of losing Jordan Seaton, but it is something. So bear with me, 3-second break, and we'll be back. This episode of Locked on Buffs is brought to you by our sponsors over at Wayfair. Guess what? The new year is here, and it's the perfect time to reset your routine and refresh your space. If you're spending more time at home, you might as well love how it looks and feels. That's why you should turn to Wayfair. Don't turn to the competitors, because they don't have the style. They don't have the prices that Wayfair does. So Wayfair has everything you need for a full home refresh all in one place, whether you're updating your living room, organizing your space, or upgrading your work from home setup. Wayfair's huge selection makes it easy to find exactly what works for your style. I'm a first-time homeowner, right? Adulting gets expensive. I knew that was going to happen, but I didn't realize how affordable Wayfair was, and I didn't realize how stylish Wayfair was, right? A lot of these things behind me, Wayfair. My entire living room, where people have complimented both of my couches, Wayfair. A lot of my decor, Wayfair. Wayfair gets it done. So that's all you need to know about Wayfair. Get organized, refreshed, and back on track this year. For way less, head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Welcome back to Locked on Buffs. I appreciate all of you guys tuning in, making me your first listen of the day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. So do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the show. What's up? Say what's up in the comment section, so that way I can say hi to you guys. It's one of those things, you lose someone, but you're probably going to gain someone. Colorado is trending for DeAndre Moore. And I think it's one of those things where people are like holding this against me. I said Colorado doesn't necessarily need him, but I think he's a great addition. And I think both things could be true, right? DeAndre Moore is a talented wide receiver. That being said, I feel like Colorado's wide receiver room is a little crowded, but hey, you never turn down talent, especially someone as good as him, right? He's a guy that's started on the playoff teams, or started on multiple playoff. No, they didn't make the playoff this year. Started on the playoff team last year and is a straight dog. He's going to come down with every contested catch. He's going to make plays. And so you are probably going to get DeAndre Moore. You bring in Bo Healy from Georgia, who's a massive human, who has starting experience in the SEC. And that's huge, right? I like that for Colorado. I really do. Now, here's some of the other transfer portal news that you guys need to know before you go. Jordan Norman, the edge from Tulane, he's going to Tennessee. So that's a sort of a tough blow right there. Sean Myers is going to UAB, so shout out to him. I'm excited to see him get an opportunity. I would have liked to see him come back and, I guess, duke it out for a starting role, or at least just stay and, I don't know, be a depth piece. I mean, he probably doesn't want to be a depth piece here, but you know what I mean. Smith Snowden from Utah, he's still in the mix for Colorado, right? I think he's by far one of the best athletes in college football. I think he would be the closest thing to Travis Hunter. Like, he could legitimately play both ways. Utah used him both ways at times. So we'll see there. And then Colorado is also hosting Oklahoma safety for a visit earlier today. So we'll see, or maybe I think it was yesterday or today. And then another name to know for Colorado, this is on the defensive side of the ball, is Blake Purchase from Oregon. He's a Colorado native. Colorado was actually really close to getting him as a recruit. Didn't come into fruition, or didn't happen that way. I guess you could say he obviously ended up at Oregon, but he's productive. This past season, it was his best season, 32 total tackles, 2 sacks. He has good size at 6'3", 245, listed as a linebacker. So you could probably figure out a role for him. I think the more depth, the better. I'm not really sure with what the Mercer guy's doing. Don't really know. I thought he was going to commit already, and it hasn't happened. So we'll have to wait and see there. But for Colorado, I mean, tough day. You lose Jordan Seaton. DeAndre Moore is trending to you, so that's exciting. But again, I'll say it because I'm going to say it 1,000 times. This is where college football is at until the rules are put in place. You can't be mad at a kid for chasing life-changing money. That being said, I think my least favorite part about college football in its current state is these kids like basically toying with fans, where it's like, yeah, dude, I would never leave. Of course not. I'm a Buff for life. He gets the Buff award. And like schools like Indiana or Miami, they're going to come after him and be like, okay, well, we'll double your pay. It's like, okay, well, it's just one of those things where it's like, you got to move on, right? And Colorado brought in some reinforcements. We'll see how they fit. I'm very confident in Brennan Marion and company that they could turn this thing around on offense. Julian Lewis, as long as he's the focal point of the offense, by all means, don't let the door hit you, I guess. But tough loss, to say the least. And I appreciate all you guys for tuning in, making me your first, or in this case, last listen of the day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow. I will keep you guys updated every step of the way. It is worth noting, just because he's in the portal doesn't mean he has to leave. So Colorado could theoretically bring him back. We'll see. I doubt it. I think he's going to go get a bag somewhere else. But this is college football, baby. And this is Locked on Buffs. I'm Kevin Borba, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.